Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Sunday, March 4th, and today I'm going to do something a little different. I noticed I really enjoyed just talking into a camera, so I actually wanted to do some YouTube videos, kind of, and yeah, just basically me in front of a camera talking about Hearthstone or whatever else I want to talk about, and that's pretty much it. So, basically what I want to do is I want to, talk about kind of the state of the meta as I see it right now, and kind of the let me pull this up as well. They're perfect. The state of the meta as I see it right now, both on ladder and in tournament. Kind of make some qualifications about it, give my take on it, and yeah, it might be a fun video. Give people a new perspective or a different perspective on it. Don't really think I'm going to be sharing like anything new. Maybe some like different cards that people didn't think about. I don't know. But yeah, let's get it started. So first of all, basically I'm going to go over tournament meta and ladder meta simultaneously, and kind of like I'm not going to have a section for ladder and then go back over and go for tournament meta. Qualifications. Number one, right now I'm in rank 4, and I haven't laddered that much. Number 2, I play Jade Druid and a suboptimal version of Q Block. Pretty much exclusively. I just started playing Spiteful Priest, so I don't know. I'm not really an expert on any of the other decks. Most of my opinions are just like playing against the decks. And what are the other qualifications? I'm obviously not like a world-class player, so let's calm down there. But yes, and number 4, whatever. These are my opinions, obviously, so they're not perfect. They're just my experiences. So obviously, in different ranks and for different people, they're going to be different, obviously. Anyway, so on ladder right now, I'm pretty much seeing. The ladder's so stale right now for me. I'm pretty sure this is everywhere, but or anything pretty much rank 15 and above is just Warlock, like either Rinlock or Q Block, then Dude Paladin or Murloc Paladin, and Spiteful Priest. That's it. Like 4 out of 5 of your games are probably going to be one of those. And then, like, 10% is either one of the, like, A-, B+ tier decks, or, like, 1 in 20 games you get something, like, really unique. Like, there's really very little innovation that I'm seeing right now on ladder. It's pretty much like, oh, wow, they're running one new tech card, like, oh, they ran 2 Spellbreakers instead of 1. Wow, that's really. They put a Doomsayer in there. Well, I put Doomsayers in, but we'll talk about Doomsayers. Oh yeah, actually, I'd like put Doomsayer in here actually. Oh, they put Doomsayers in their deck. Wow. But like, yeah, there's not really much new on ladder. In tournament, it's a little bit different. You're pretty much going to see 50% of the time, and, oh, yeah, sorry, another qualification. Very limited tournament experience right now. I'm going to local, or, like, small meme tournaments, so very little experience in that. But from what I have seen, it's 50% of the time it's going to be Paladin, Warlock, and some iteration of Priest, generally Spiteful. And the other 50% of the time, it's going to be like Warlock. Like 90% of the time, you're going to see Warlock in the deck, in the lineup. 75 to 90% of the time, Paladin. And then the third deck is sometimes wild. Sometimes it's unique. Like for example, I'll go over this after, but I saw Weapon Rogue teched in a few times in tournament. Yesterday and a few weeks ago. I've saw Hunter ones. I've seen some interesting things. But yeah, so yeah, let's get this started. So We have most common is actually as of recently I can't say what's most common. It's either Rinlock or Q-Block, but right now I'm seeing a lot of as of recently a lot of Q-Block, but with N'Zoth in it to give some more late game. So it's basically they're just making like greedier late game Q-Block to counter Rinlock essentially. But yeah, it's basically Q block with N'Zoth. There's not really much to say. Q block with N'Zoth and Tal'Daram, and that's pretty much it. And you just you have the win condition of making 50 Void Lords, or the win condition of making 50 Doom Guards, and then also having N'Zoth late game to summon like a bunch of 2/2s and 4/6s and like a 3/9 maybe. So yeah, there's that. And then Rinlock has just been really unfun to play against because I mostly use ladder to practice tournaments, so I don't generally run Spellbreakers, and then I also play Druid, so Druid I can't run Spellbreakers because Oaken Summons is one of the most disgusting 4-drops in the game. Even though Jade Druid isn't the best deck right now, it's still, well, we'll talk about Jade Druid in a second, but you can't run Spellbreakers in Jade Druid, you can't run Silence, so Rinlock just runs you over. It's not a fun time. And then, yeah, I didn't understand the complaints against Taunt Warrior, playing against Taunt Warrior until I've experienced playing against a bunch of taunts myself. So yeah, playing against what's it called? Playing against Void Lords right now is not fun. Yeah, basically you summon a 3/9. If it gets silenced, that's not fun for the person who summoned it. If it doesn't get silenced, you just run all your minions into it, and then your board gets Hellfire Defiled, and that's not fun for you. Like, one player's not having fun that game. It is not a fun game to play against Rin. To play against Cube, I think it's pretty fun to play against Q-Block. Even playing against Zoo is pretty fun. But yeah, so that's pretty. Oh yeah, and in tournament, Warlock's disgusting. Instant ban. I'll go over. Actually, I'll go over a Zoo right now. Actually, and just scratch this out. So I went against Zoo, and it was an open deck list tournament, which I never played before, by the way. And I said, oh. This guy's Zoo is here. Let me show you. Actually, I have some resources for you. This guy's Zoo lock. Oh, okay. I need to zoom out. Jesus, this guy's Zoo is terrible. It has 2 Silverware Golems and a Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker doesn't do anything versus my lineup except against Warlock, which they banned. So why are you playing Spellbreaker if you banned Warlock? And then it runs 2 Silverware Golems. Alright, should be easy. Oh, and it runs 2 Fungalmancers instead of just 1. Pretty much every Zoo I've seen, or every Zoo that's been really successful I've seen, only runs 1 Fungalmancer. So I'm like, alright, this should be easy. I don't ban it. Get run over anyway. So yeah, give Zoo a try as well. See how that works out for you. So yeah, now we have Murloc Paladin and Dude Paladin. So basically, there's 2 Paladins right now, and OTK Paladin, which OTK Paladin made a splash before, and now I haven't seen any of it. And I really like OTK Paladin. It seems really good. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot more Murloc Paladin now. So I saw, like, it's basically like it goes, like, there was a lot of Murloc Paladin, then Corridor Creeper gets nerfed, a lot of so Murloc Paladin goes down. Now I see Dude Paladin. Then, now as of late, I've seen like 50-50 Murloc Paladin, Dude Paladin, especially on ladder. It's really, sorry, on tournament. I think on ladder it's like 70-30 from what I'm seeing. This is in no way an accurate statistic, just like my perception. Like 70-30, 60-40 in favor of Dude Paladin. In tournaments, I've seen like little bit, either 50-50 or like slightly less Murloc Paladins, but Murloc Paladin seems more common in Tournament. The reason why is because Warlock is pretty much instantly everywhere in Tournament. And why do you not want to run Dude Paladin in Tournament? Or why do you not want to run Dude Paladin against Warlock, you may ask? Well, because Warlock has the best 2-drop spell in the game, and one of the best cards in the game called Defile. And yeah, Defile kills a 1/1, then kills your 1/1 Divine Shield, then kills your 3/3, then kills, what else does it kill? Your 5/5 is now like a 5/3 without Divine Shield anymore. And then you can Hellfire, you have follow-up options, you have Taunt if you don't run Spellbreakers. Yeah, so you definitely running Dude Paladin against Warlock is not a fun time. And keep in mind, I don't run either of these. I've never played either of these decks. I've just played against them. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. So yeah, Murloc really good against Warlock, but I think it was slightly better against. Oh, let's find out. Basically, it's better. It has better early game burst. Let me see. I'm looking at the win rate right now. And it's better versus like Druid as well, but it's weaker versus Dude Paladin. Like Dude Paladin versus Murloc Paladin, Dude Paladin wins most of the time. But it has better early game. But like once you deal with the Gentle Megasaur, turn, you pretty much won the game. And then so basically it's like threats are Gentle Megasaur and Call to Arms. And then kind of Terram. But Terram isn't as devastating in Murloc Paladin as it is in Dude Paladin. So like, Murloc Paladin is basically you deal with the turn 4 play and then you win the game. But if you don't, you lose the game. So if you have the answer, you win. If you don't, you lose. Whereas Dude Paladin, there's never, other than like turn 1, there's never a point versus Dude Paladin where I feel like I'm safe until my opponent explodes. Like, even when I'm playing versus Dude Paladin that's drawing off the top, I still don't feel safe. Like, even like Vine Cleaver into... Like, playing off the top, Vine Cleaver into like Divine Favor, there's so many off the top threats. I never feel like, oh, thank God I'm safe. Like, it is a much stronger late game deck, but I'd say like a much weaker early game, or a decently weaker early game. But yeah, that's about it on Paladin. Spiteful, I just picked this deck up right now. Pretty much the ideal way to run Spiteful is put either one copy of, from what I've seen in builds, is either put in one copy of Cabal Songstealer, which is the 5/5 silence, or put in a Harrison Jones, there we go. Or put in a Harrison Jones. And Harrison Jones is teched for both Secret Mage and Warlock, Q-Block specifically, and Cabal Songstealer tech specifically for Warlock. I think Spiteful does really well. I'm like almost 70% win rate versus Warlock right now, versus both iterations of Warlock, both Cube and Rin as Spiteful. I think Spiteful does. I don't run either of those. I think it's really good without them. I actually run Doomsay, which we'll get to in a second, is Doomsayers. I actually run Doomsayers to counter Paladin early aggression. I don't think you need a copy of Songstealer versus Warlock. I don't think you need to abuse Warlock that much. Maybe I'll change my mind and start banning Paladin and run like a lineup that beats Warlock. But yeah, I tried doing that before and I've not had success with it. And people have tried doing that versus me and they've generally not had success with it. Generally what happens, I either 2-0 with Warlock, or like one of their decks goes through and then the other deck. I edge out with Warlock, and then I beat and then I destroy the third deck. Or what's it called? Or like even Secret Mage. Secret Mage right now doesn't even like beat Warlock. Like maybe it destroys Rinlock, and I just don't know that. But versus Cubelock, I've not. I'm like 60-40. I don't even think it's a bad matchup. Like because you can play around Counterspell really well. And if they don't run Potion of Polymorph, like you're looking really good. And I run double Doomsayer in Cubelock as well to eat the silence mainly. To eat the silence and counter early aggression. And yeah, it's really good. Already talked about Zoo. Oh, I've seen a little bit of Hunter and a little bit of Mage on ladder. Or no, I actually scratched that, sorry. Little bit of Hunter on ladder, no Hunter in tournament pretty much as of recently. Little bit of Mage in tournament, like no Mage on ladder. Like a few days ago I saw a bunch of Secret Mages. I've not seen Secret Mage or Control Mage at all right now. Also, I don't think I've seen people like talk about Quest Mage a little bit and play it a little bit. Yeah, I don't think it serves a purpose. Like it even loses to Jade Druid. I've only lost one out of like 5 games. And by the way, the reason why I lost is literally I won the game. I conceded early because I thought my opponent had lethal. That's like I thought my opponent had enough mana to Antonidas combo with 3 Sorcerer's Apprentices, and I rage conceded. So let's just say, for honesty, I'm 4 out of 5 versus Quest Mage's Jade Druid. But I'd imagine as Quest Mage, if you can't beat a deck that takes like 4 to 5 turns to set up, what are you beating then? Like, you're not beating anything. What's the purpose of your deck? Like, Quest Mage got buffed with the nerfs, and you're still losing to Quest Mage, or you're still not winning as Quest Mage, so yeah. Then, oh yeah, Weapon Rogue seems like it's a decent anti-control deck. Decent, what's it called? Decent anti-Warlock deck, actually. I actually have a really low win rate versus Weapon Rogue. And then I look at the statistics and I'm like, wait a second. This would be terrible into Paladin. It actually has a less than a 25% win rate versus Paladin. So don't run this on ladder. Go ahead and try it in tournament. Yeah, definitely don't run this on ladder. Jade Druid I think is great right now. I think Jade Druid is maybe not a consideration in a consideration, but maybe not good enough to be run in a best of 3 format. But in a best of 5 format, I think Jade Druid makes the cut. Jade Druid's great. I used to be unfavored versus until I learned how to play the matchup. I used to be unfavored versus Secret Mage. That was like and obviously Warlock, but I banned Warlock. I used to be unfavored versus it, and then I kind of figured it out. Yeah, Branching Paths and Oaken Summons are just disgusting versus it. Like, being able to Oaken Summons a 3/6 taunt and gain 6 armor is insane. Like, yeah, it's nuts. And 3/6 lines up really well. So your 3/6 lines up into, like, they're 2/3s, obviously. They're Kirin Tor Mage, they're 4/3. And what's nice is it's 3/6, so Kirin Tor, you can't Kirin Tor and ping. You have to Kirin Tor and trade another one of your 2/3s in, so it's really good. And then also, like, Sorcerers are, like, 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices lines up well. Like, it lines up so well. Oaken Summons is so good versus it. And yeah, you eventually get... There's multiple win conditions versus it. One is just gaining 1 billion armor. One is making like 5/5 Jades and above. One is just trading the board in and making taunts so they can't attack. But generally, yeah, you're going to like just gain 1 billion armor and it'll be fine. And yeah, and also you have Swipe. You have 2 copies of Swipe. And you have 2 copies of Spreading Plague, the card that got nerfed, by the way, Spreading Plague used to be 5 mana, if I remember correctly. Now it's 6. It's really good versus Dude Paladin. Like, really good. Like, I'd say it's like 55% favored versus Dude Paladin. Dude Paladin. Really good deck versus Dude Paladin. If you can beat out the Divine Favors and the Terran, you're looking good all game, dude. Like, if you can beat the Terran, you're looking good all game. If you can beat out, like, if you can beat out, like, one of the big threats and then just go stupidly aggressive, you're looking good. Oh, and another counter to Dude Paladin is they don't always have the perfect combination of cards. Like, they actually need a decent combination of cards to set up correctly. So, just be aware of that. You can play aggressive versus Dude Paladin. You don't need to play as defensively as you think. Like, I literally played a game against Dude Paladin where I had swipe in my opener and I didn't swipe till, like, turn 7 or something, when my opponent had, like, a literal, like, either full board or, like, 5 minions or something. I didn't swipe. That was also because I had revealed deck list, of course, so I could play around it better. But, yeah, point being, you don't have to play as defensive as you may think. And generally, when you play defensive, you start being when you play more defensive and when you start spamming your board clear instead of holding onto it, you start becoming unfavored. However, as Warlock, you have a billion board clear anyway, so it doesn't matter. But we'll talk about Warlock in a later video. Show Shaman, interesting anti-meta deck. Basically, didn't get the deck list because I'm lazy, but basically, Volcanoes and Devolves are pretty good in this meta. So, decent in a Warlock, decent in a Dude Paladin. I'd assume not horrible in a Murloc Paladin. It seems like not a bad deck. Oh, and it runs a Healing Rain, so it might not be the worst versus Secret Mage either. Yeah. Seems pretty... It's basically Evolved Shaman with a lot of defensive spells. Seems pretty good. Give it a try if you have the dust or you have the cards. No, actually, let me rephrase that. If you have all the cards and you want to, like, do a fun deck, give it a try. But would not recommend using your dust on it, but yeah, give it a try. It seems good. And then finally, hidden OPs. This is basically the section where I want to talk about, like, either hidden OPs or hidden good cards. First one that came to my mind a while ago, actually, Bittertide Hydra. So, Bittertide Hydra is a 5-mana 8/8 that deals damage to your face every time you take damage. So, what would this be terrible against? Dude Paladin, obviously. Taking 24 damage with this card seems pretty bad. Yeah, so when you run against Knife Jugglers and 1/1s, probably a bad card. But, what did I want to say? But versus everything else, it seems pretty good. I don't see many decks being able to deal with a big early game minion. Like, I thought Mountain Giant was going to be terrible in almost any situation. In my Warlock, I actually took it out in favor of other stuff. And yeah, Mountain Giant has been performing really well in my Q block. Like, even versus Dude Paladin, it's been performing really well. Yeah, it's really good. So, yeah, big early game minions, even like, I can't think of like big early game minions, but like any big early game minion that's like just a big vanilla minion that like basically that doesn't get silenced, seems pretty good in this meta, right now at least. So yeah, give Bittertide a shot. Maybe in tournament more than in ladder, or maybe just like ignore the results completely when you play against Paladin and see what it does versus other decks. Seems pretty good. So give that a try. Then, where are we? Spiteful Summoner. This card. Fornari. This is already used a lot. No, I don't think it's used enough. I think this card is a very underrated card because people think only useful in a very specific Druid deck that's bad. In Mage, which is suboptimal, and in and obviously in Spiteful Priest. I actually think this card is like more disgusting than people are giving it credit for. If you change this card text to 6/6 Battle Cry, summon a, or sorry, 6 mana 4/4 Battle Cry, summon a 4/4, it's still playable. Being able to summon two 4/4s on turn 6 isn't that bad. If it's a 4/4 that summons a 5/5, it's even better. Like, Cairn right now is like a very niche card that's almost playable. Spiteful Summoner, like, almost a strictly better Cairn, a 4/4 that summons a 4/5, is insane. And then you get to, like, the insane result of, like, 4/4 summon Tyrion on turn 6, also with a 4/4 supporting it, so it trades in the Nugget minions. Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, so you get to those results. 4/4 summon Yasharj, that summons a 5/5. Yeah, you get into those results, it's insane. But you even get, like, people like... I run Spiteful Mage, which is basically controlled mage with Spiteful Summoners and Arcane Tyrant. So it's like a mid-rangey, late-game, weird mage deck. People are like, oh yeah, but it grabs Polymorph, which is a 4-cost card. It grabs Polymorph, and that's bad. No, dude! I'm perfectly fine. Like, Spiteful Summoner summon a Chillwind Yeti. I'm fine with that result, dude. I'm fine. Like, I'm kind of sad if it summons a Spellbreaker. I'm really sad if it summons, like, a Serenite Chain Gang. But, like, dude, I'm fine with, like, a 4/4 that summons a 4/4, dude. That's not a problem. Like, this is not a bad card. Like, you can run it in, like, Jade Druid right now, like, there's... Jade Druid right now, if it didn't have, like, 4 playable 6-drops, Spiteful Summoner would be playable. Like, that's how good I think Spiteful Summoner is. Like, even 4/4 that summons a 3/3 for 6 mana is kind of bad, but not the end of the world. Like, this is not a bad card. Put it in more decks, give it a try, see how it works out. It's worked out really well for me. Oh yeah, and I've seen it in Warlock, but yeah, Defile's too broken of a card not to run. You can probably take out your Mortal Coils, and I might mess around with a Warlock that runs Spiteful Summoner sometime in the future. But yeah, Warlock right now you don't need it's good enough without Spiteful Summoner. It doesn't play toward a win condition. But yeah, give Spiteful a try. Mountain Giant, like I said before, big early game minion, seems good. I thought Mountain Giant would be completely useless and pointless in my Warlock deck, other than versus Priest and Warlock Mirror. It's actually done really well, even versus token decks, even versus like obviously Dude Paladin, Murloc Paladin. Yeah, it's done really well. Yeah, being able to do Mountain Giant, trade into one of their minions, and then Carnivorous Cube it, really good, only vulnerable to silence. And then you run it down, let's say you play it on turn 4, you run it down mid-turn 5, and then you can either Carnivorous Cube, and then you can either hold on to the Carnivorous Cube, or, I mean, what's the worst case scenario that happens? Like, Mountain Giant trades into, like, what, 2-3 minions? Like, that's pretty good for a 4-drop. It's not bad. Finally, Doomsayer. There's been much less silence. Like, people went insane with silence early on. I think silence is pretty good, but right now I ignore Warlock. But people went insane with silence early on. Now silence isn't even that big. So right now, being able to, like, take out one of your opponent's silences, and possibly their only silence, really good with Doomsayer. Like I said, I run Doomsayer in Spiteful Priest, and I won a tournament, by the way. It was a small meme tournament. I still won a tournament with double Doomsayer Spiteful Priest. It's basically Spiteful Priest, but I took out the 5-drop option, and I took out one Curious Glimmerroot for double Doomsayer. Yeah, double Doomsayer, very nice. Try it out in, like, any deck that isn't any, like, mid-range deck or control deck. I'd recommend double Doomsayer. If you have the slots for it, I'd recommend double Doomsayer. Like, pretty much any mid-range... Yeah, any mid-range or control. Just eating up your opponent's... Sometimes, literally, eating 7 damage is good enough. Sometimes it's that good. And sometimes, worst case scenario, it eats up like a silence. And it's fine because you ate up a silence and now you can play Carnivorous Cube and you're fine. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty much TLDR. Ladder is very unfun right now. Try these cards and ban Warlock or Paladin. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this was less than 30 minutes. How long was it? Exactly 30 minutes. Perfect. All right. Take it easy, guys. I'll see you later.